Good. Almost afternoon, everybody. Came out to the shop about 15 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. And we are up to 70 degrees. Of course, we've got radiant heat here, so that's kind of cheating. So I'm going to move this over to another spot here. We'll check on it later. So what's the current temperature outside? When I got up this morning, it was a whopping 20 degrees. Yes, 20. Quite cold. And of course I'm facing the microphone the wrong direction. But went out, hopped in old Blue to get a little bit of room time on him. He decided he was going to be grumpy and not start. So I don't know if I've got a spark issue or fuel issue. I'll figure that out in a little while. But I had some questions come in, not very many on the last Zippo Ranch video, just a couple. So I'm going to let that one ride before I start answering questions. But I will answer one question that was asked, and it was a pretty good one. And that was, what do my doctors say about me riding a motorcycle? Well, I have my primary care physician, and let me get over here and, hi guys. Excuse me, where did I set my phone? My phone's gone. Sorry about spinning around like that. I know I own a phone. Where'd I put it? Did you guys see where I put it? It run off. It's not on my hip. Well, isn't that bizarre? I just had my phone. See, this is what Zippo does. I found it. It's right there. Duh. A little foggy today. I'm not having the best day in the world. Woke up, my neck hurt. Pretty similarly to how it had. Let me get that LED lights sort of kind of out of the way there. That's not great either, is it? Oh well. Sorry about the light wash. Oh, mercy. Which ones are those? That's these. Hang on. Now I'm kind of dark. I'm going to turn it back on. See, these are these are the kinds of things that I do when I'm just getting moving. And yeah, it's noon. I'm just getting moving. I've actually been messing with old Blue for a couple hours. But my days don't get off to a really early start. But I was asked, what do my doctors think about me being a motorcycle rider? 14, almost 15 years ago, I was told I needed to hang up my spurs and quit riding. And I did. For 14 years. A very long time. And once you're a biker, it never leaves your system. It's always in there. You hear a motorcycle, you get this little twinge in your head and this little twinge down here, and you just get a little upset that you're not out there straddling a motorcycle and riding yourself. So for 14 years I did not ride. So my spinal specialist, best judge in my opinion of what I can or cannot do, I went to him and I said, I just picked up a vintage Honda motorcycle, 1973 Honda CB350 4-cylinder, showed him pictures and all this other stuff. And I showed him my driver's license that I had my motorcycle endorsement. And I told him, you know, you told me 14 years ago, quit riding. That was due to breaking L5 and having partial paralysis in my left leg, which affects my Achilles heel, which just simply means I have what's called drop foot. I have to wear a boot to hold my foot level so that when I walk it doesn't drop and I don't tip over it. I have a really nice nasty scar on this shoulder as a result of my drop foot and me going out in flip-flops and tripping and catching myself on wet grass with just my left hand, because as you guys all know, I am never without, and I'm always holding it in my right hand so that my left hand's free. The funny thing is, I hold it in my right hand, but I drink with my left hand. OCD crap is a lot of fun. But I was holding my pup, I didn't want to shake it up. Down on the ground I went. I ripped every tendon out of this shoulder. Just ripped it to shreds. Hang on, guys. Sorry about that. I had to clear my nose out. Okay. Did I get it all? Alright. Alright, so where was I? Well, I slipped, and this was after I had broken L5, and I had emergency surgery done to put Humpty Dumpty back together and get some function back in that leg. What they did was they stitched known good nerves. They grafted the severed nerves to known good nerves. So I had to learn how to walk all over again like a little baby. Right leg was doing what it was supposed to. My left leg was not responding or listening to the commands that my brain was giving it at all. From the thigh, or from the knee up, I was fine. It was from the knee down that I had the biggest issues. A lot goes on when you walk. If you look at your feet and how they act and react, a lot goes on. Well, I lost a lot of that motor skill, including being able to hold my foot up, which was why I was told you need to not ride anymore. Over the years, I've regained some mobility in the lower part of my leg, controllable mobility. There are days when I know that getting on the bike is not a good idea because I'm unable to lift to shift. Because let me show you over here on the motorcycle, on the little 125, okay? On a typical road bike, it's one down for first gear and then up for however many other gears. So your foot is here and the down motion's not a problem. It's coming in and doing that motion there. Well, I learned how to rock my whole leg to bring the gear shift up and to get into the next gear. After I got Big Bill up and running. So I actually took Big Bill to the doctors when I asked him if he thought I was okay to ride, and showed him pictures of the bike and everything. And then he was between patients after me, so he came outside and he looked at the bike and he said, that bike needs to be ridden, and if you're comfortable on that bike and you're confident that you can control and handle that motorcycle, ride to your heart's content for as long as you can. Your time may be limited on how long you're going to be able to ride. You may be able to ride until you're in your 80s if you quit smoking, he said. Of course. But that hopefully should answer that question. Now we'll talk about my primary care physician. She's Russian, and she is absolutely matter of fact, and she is strictly by the book. She said, she pulled up my surgical history and she said, you've had 32 surgical procedures, now 33, You've had 32 surgical procedures. You have no business being on two wheels. You almost have no business driving a four-wheel drive vehicle with everything that's happened to you. This is what she said. This is without her knowing enough about me, how tenacious I am, how determined I am, how stubborn I am. You know, it was just, she was looking at what my surgical history said. But that's my primary care physician, just my everyday doctor that I go to for physicals and checkups, or sniffles. So, the second opinion was, of course, my spinal doctor, and I thought that was the better opinion. And since then, you guys know, I went apeshit buying different bikes. Bought a bunch of motorcycles. And was absolutely loving every minute of it. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4. I still have 5 bikes now. I was up to 7. Then I sold Sir William, the CM 185T, the Twin Star, and I sold Little Billy, which I didn't want to sell, but I couldn't turn it down. The guy gave me my price, didn't even haggle. So, Chris, nice kid. But anyway, I digress. I ride what I feel I'm capable of riding. And you guys might ask, all right, well, dude, you're on an 800-pound Goldwing and you're a $150 soaking wet. How in the world do you handle that motorcycle? That bike is actually the most manageable. The center of gravity is way down low because it's a little 4-cylinder boxer engine, little 1200cc boxer engine. And the center of gravity is low. And once it's rolling, I'm just along for the ride. And you can ask Miss Zippo. She keeps a journal on everything that we do. You know, when we went to pick up Willie, the 1975 GL 1000, and then we went to a restaurant, Tucano's. That was a fantastic weekend. We had a blast. Went to Noblesville, Indiana. I'm in Muncie. Went to Noblesville, Indiana. Picked up the motorcycle. I rode it in 45-degree temps. That was earlier in the year, when spring was trying to break, and I just loved it. I was like, all right, I got it. Well, then I got the bug for a motorcycle that had all the baggage so that I could pack stuff away. And then I found Smokey. But being able to handle Smokey, the most difficult thing about handling Smokey is at slow speed. But there's this little trick with feathering the clutch and the back brake at the same time where you can literally crawl and maintain incredible control of a large motorcycle like that. And that's how I control it at very low speeds, like if I'm in a parking lot turning around or doing something like that. And having Miss Zippo on the back of it, she is a very good passenger. She knows exactly what to and what not to do. So we've had 2 close calls on Smokey. We almost had a Silverado pull out in front of us. I forget where we were at. So, we were downtown Indianapolis in a shopping center. But I think at or Fort Wayne. I don't remember where we were. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, you're going to have close calls on a motorcycle. But everything that I've been riding since high school, everything that I learned riding that many years, you're talking 34 years, it'll be 35 years next year. That's a lot of riding experience, a lot of situations where you know how to handle them, and just being wise. I was also a recruiter for A-Bait. Anybody who doesn't know what A-Bait is, look it up. I need to stoke the stove because I can feel myself getting a little cold. So come on along over here with me. We'll get that done while I'm still talking. And yeah, this is going to be kind of a long one, but I did want to answer that one question because it's a very good question. I have thoroughly enjoyed my life riding, the camaraderie between people, and nowadays it's a lot different than what it used to be. It used to be, you know, Harley riders, they had their noses up in the air, and I was guilty of that. I was a Harley rider. I built Harleys from the frames up, custom Harleys. I was really big into that. And do I like Harleys? I do. They're fantastic motorcycles. If you know how to take care of them, and you know, I think I pretty well know how to turn a wrench. But all the years that I've been riding, the situations that I've been in that could have been tragic had nothing to do with me and my riding capabilities. Nothing. It had to do with four-wheelers not seeing me. The only time I've ever dropped a bike, I forced dropped it. It was the only choice I had to avoid a collision, and that was during a midnight parade in Anderson, Indiana. I had just finished my 1997 Harley Sportster 1200 Custom, and a mounted police officer pulled out in front of me. He was on a Harley, pulled straight out in front of me. I did not check for traffic, nothing. And I had just two choices: hit him or set the bike down so that he and I wouldn't make contact. I did about $2 grand worth of damage to my bike, and all he had to say was, sorry, since we didn't make contact, you don't have a leg to stand on. How's that for a police officer? Brilliant, isn't it? I don't get it. But anyway, again, I digress. You guys are getting the stories behind the questions. I have not been in but two situations where Lisa and I could have been hurt. It was how I handled those situations that prevented us from getting hurt. And I pride myself on my ability. I know before I ever hop on any of my motorcycles if I'm going to be able to handle the motorcycle that day. Are there days when I cannot? Absolutely. It's just I need to know when those days are and not try to push myself. Like today, woke up and it's 20 degrees out. Is that a day to go out and ride a motorcycle? No. But before we close this out, let's go see what the temperature is here real quick on the little thermometer. We moved it away. But you got to figure it's right now 29 degrees out and we're at 60 degrees. That's really not too bad when you consider it's been only about 30 minutes since I've been out here in the shop. So before we hit 20 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and cancel it. If you would please, right there, that bald head, hit that. That'll subscribe to you. Over here's a random video, and over here's the last one. You guys know, I will see you on the next one. And keep those questions coming. Give me some more questions. We're also going to work on the little motorcycle today. Later, I'm out.